Listen, ladies and gentlemen, she is a dynamo. She's lived in San Antonio, Texas. She went up to Mr. Cooper's one day and said, I'm going to invite him to come to Texas. And she that's what I love about gutsy people. She walked up and said, I need you to come to Texas. I mean, just grabbed the man by his collar. Look, I need you to come to Texas. And he like, what, where, when? I'll get back to you, but can you come? Anybody grab me like that? I guess I have to come. She had 0 people. She's had about a month or 2 out, Mrs. Freddie Sherman. She made a decision. We talked about that this morning. We talked about purpose this morning. Remember, we talked about purpose? She made a decision, watch this, to fill up that room. And we talked about it last night in Beach Money, how the lady in Beach Money had nobody the first time out. She had one guy, and then 3 months later, Jordan went again, and he invested back in that lady's time going out, and she put over 850 people in the room. Her check next month was over $30,000. We talked about that last night. Y'all missed a good one. But then again, it's only for leaders. Anyway, so it was so powerful. And she said, hey, I had nobody. I went home and she said, I rolled my sleeves up to make it real. She called her upline, Mr. Dean Giralli. She called some people around and said, I need y'all to come here. Hey, we're going to fill this place up. And guess what? Tony Coopers came down before he left. You know what he said to her? Excuse me, when can I come back again? See, that's leaders. That's a leader. They made a decision. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's give a real round of applause. None other than this regional director, Miss Roxann Corralejo.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much, Mr. Thomas. I got to give it back to you, and just seeing you and Mr. Trolley and all the leaders, even the co-founders, Tony Kupis and everybody, it's about servitude. It's about how many can we serve? How do we serve them? And sometimes when it comes to the business, people are thinking, like, I want to serve them in my way. I want them to become reps so they can make a whole bunch of money. But you're still thinking about you. That's not servitude. You're thinking about yourself and not the other person. And I just, when you brought up that story, it made me remember why. Why did I even ask? Why did I do that? And so I was excited to hang out with a co-founder and all the SVPs. I thought, hey, all the information I could absorb is going to be freaking phenomenal. And so I actually promoted it to my team as well. We need to do this. And of course, out of that entire competition between everybody, not just me and my team, but I'm the only one that qualified. And they opened it up to everybody. And I'm like, why would you not do everything you possibly can to qualify to be in the room like this? So I get in there and I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't for me. I didn't do this work because I wanted to continue to work hard. I did this for my people. So I'm taking videos and posting them and doing all that stuff so that now next time, if and when this competition opens up again, people will be motivated to do the same thing I did and actually qualify to be in the room with these amazing people that's been there, done the things before we did them. People that have had trials and tribulations and all the no's and everything that we're going through, they've experienced. And then I'm like, you know what? Why wait? Why wait till they put something on? And that's what prompted me to ask the question, because I hear stories from Mr. Thomas and everything that you've done. You've just gone out and you've done it. And so I said, why not? This isn't for me. I am here. I'm enjoying myself. Yes, the food is amazing. The wine is even better. But I need to bring this to my team. And that's where the question posed. It was not for, hey, let's get you to San Antonio just to get you to San Antonio so I can brag Tony Kupis is coming to my city. Any of that. My sole thought was, I need to get him in front of my team. And this is right after COVID. And COVID, we weren't having any events. And that's what I thought. It wasn't just my team. That's what's so great about, I think, ACN, and we just say we're the ACN family, is that the first thing I did, you're right, I had one person and that was me. That's it. So before even reaching out to my team, I reached out to all the leaders. I reached out to everybody within a driving distance, not even a driving distance. Some people flew into San Antonio to be at this event, which was crazy and bonkers because I'd created that relationship, and it's all about collaboration. JT, now Regional Vice President, Mr. Jonathan Thomas. He was one of the first people I called out from Houston. I called people out from Killeen. I called people out from Dallas. They were driving 2, 3, 5 hours and had people, like I mentioned, flying in because events just weren't happening. And that's what was so great is some people didn't even have a team. They didn't even have a guest, but they wanted to be a part of the environment. And the fact that I was the source of how it started, and it was something that was in actually Beach Money. And he mentioned it's not about what you do, it's about what you start. And the fact that it wasn't just for my team, but it was for ACN as a whole. Hey, we need community. We need to come together. Everybody in Texas, let's do it right here, right now. All I did was got the man in the room. And it's up to every single one of us to meet the goal that he acquired, to get people in front of us. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. Just kind of took a roundabout way about it. But last night over at our book club review, we talked about Jordan Adler had mentioned, I'm going to go back to this book. And if you guys don't have it, I believe it's that's 18, right here, chapter 16. And the ones we just read. So this is 15 and chapter 16, chapter 14, just a handful of in the middle where he talks about making these connections. And you got to make these connections. You got to make a few every single day. But when you're making these connections, are you automatically trying to sell them? Are you automatically trying to get them in the business? Is that what your sole purpose is? And he talks about reach out to them, get to know them, have the conversations, know about their family. And that's an approach that I've always taken just because that relationship part is where business has always come from me. I'm a biologist at heart. My degree's in biology. I worked as a biologist when I first got out of college. So I'm an educator. And I was out in the field all by myself all the time. So making connections with people is one thing that I love. And that's one thing that I have to do. And I mentioned it last night is that I sat down with someone for the first time for one-to-one. And those one-to-ones are get to know each other better, get to know each other's businesses better, but also it's because you want to know that person, one, to see if you trust them to refer business to. That's always my thought is saying, hey, I want to see who you are to refer business to you, not necessarily me. Of course, I'm always thinking about that because I think everybody can benefit from this, but I want to think, hey, how can I support you? But before that, I got to know who you are. So I sat down with a gentleman and he started opening up and was connecting to the Wi-Fi in his laptop, and I just started creating conversation and talking while he's trying to figure it out, all of his stuff and technology and all the things. And then he was like, "Oh, okay, I'm ready." And I'm like, "I'm sorry, real quickly, like, what are we bringing up the laptop for?" And I put my hand out just to let him know, "What are we pulling up the laptop for?" And he was like, "Oh, well, I wanted to kind of show you this and that and all the things." I said, "You know what? I'm kind of very familiar with your industry and actually your company. I just want to know about you. Like, is that okay? Can we just talk a little bit?" And he got relaxed. Yeah, this guy's in a suit and he's ready for business. And he just got relaxed, sat in the chair, turned, leaned back, and we just had a conversation about his family, about his kids that aren't even his adoptive children, all that stuff. And that's how you build relationships. And that is how you get referrals. That is how you get business. So, along with that, I want to talk about thinking outside the box. We've talked about that before and a couple ideas. So, lately I've been focusing on impact. I want to switch gears now here with that idea in mind of serving people, but switch to impact. This is so important that we don't miss this freaking window, not because of how much business it can generate us. It really is an immense amount of business, which is fantastic. That is just the friggin' cherry on top. But because of the issue that all this is going to bring, because of the people that we can serve, because of how many people that are going to be priced out of their health insurance, people with children. And some people say, "Oh, it's not a big deal. Like I'm healthy." I was talking to a real estate agent who was contemplating filing for bankruptcy, and I'm working with her to try to see how we can generate some more income from her because she broke her leg. A real estate agent that broke her leg. You know, we can't predict these things, but now she has over $300,000 in medical bills from a broken leg. She needed surgeries and pins and therapy and all the things, but that's not something we can predict or we expect. So we want to make sure, one, that people are covered and then they don't lose their health care. But two, what creating these relationships do, impact isn't for everybody. So when we're thinking about the box, are we thinking about getting everybody on impact? Or are we thinking about how we can serve them? So one thing that I'm doing is first thing I did is I need relationships. I need people I can refer people to that aren't a good fit for impact because I'm going to talk to everybody, not just the people impact are for. And that's exactly what I do. I have these conversations with everybody and I start thinking about who I need. First one was Medicare. I know nothing about Medicare, and people need Medicare if they even want to get on impact if they're over the age of 65. So I needed someone that I know, like, and trust. That is really hard, I've noticed, because with a lot, I'm not going to pigeonhole an industry, but a lot of people that do Medicare, their focus is how much money can I get? I'm told it's not a lot, so that's why they're always trying to hustle and get more and get more. And that just isn't a good fit for my community. I love it. Go hustle, do what you need to do, but it's not a good fit for my community. I need you to be honest. I need it to be mission before commission because that's the way I work and that's the way my people are expecting when I refer other people out. So mission before commission, 100% with everybody I work with. And I found a gentleman that I'm working with, but I always have to keep other people because what if he drops the ball? What if it doesn't work the way I want to? So as I'm going out there and talking to people, most people want to stay away from me and they're like, oh my gosh, she does healthcare. I'm not going to talk to her because she's going to take all my customers. No, that's not the way I work. I want to talk to everybody that's in this industry to see who I can refer people out to. So I have someone for Medicare. Now, what if someone has a pre-existing condition? Yes, Impact could help with them and that the price reduction and all those things, but it might not be a good fit for them still. Even though we're doing the price reduction, I know a handful of people that are needing surgery. They already know. They know that they need surgery, and I say, you know what? That's okay. What we're going to do is we're going to look at Impact. We're also going to look at a broker. I'm making connections with insurance brokers that might not be on the board with impact, but I don't care. I've created that relationship. We have to make sure that relationship is there and said, hey, I have people and I can refer you business. It's all about helping the individual. Why? Because if I have one person that needs a surgery and I refer them to a broker and other people need insurance, guess who they're going to think about? That's the whole point, is to get people to think about you. No matter what, no matter if they use your service, if they qualify, nothing, to get them to think about you, just to make that connection. Jordan Adler said, one of the chapters last night, keep referring to that because it was just a phenomenal read. One of the chapters last night, he was talking to someone. He said, how many contacts do you have? And I think he said around like 480 or something like that. And he goes, how many people know what you're doing? And he said 3. Then your business isn't open. So it's just so that they think of you. They think of you as a professional. Even though I refer business out, I'm still that person that they think of first because I help them with that connection because I thought of them as a whole. So think about your network. Do you have someone that you can work with collaboratively? You can actually go into an employer's office with someone, not afraid to take each other's business and work together. Someone that does Medicare, someone. I focus on a broker. I don't want to pigeonhole anybody into one insurance company. If impact isn't good for them, I want to make sure that they're a broker and they actually shop around for them and they get them the best thing. Because guess what? I know people after that surgery that they've needed forever and ever and ever, once they get that, next year, they're like, hey, I have no longer pre-existing conditions. I think I want to switch to impact. They can, in turn, come back to you as long as your thought process is servitude. How can I serve them? So when I go in and I talk to these people, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm just mentioning impact to the masses. I'm not even giving quotes for the most part until someone asks me. I'm not saying, hey, you want to quote here? As we get closer, absolutely 100%, that's what I'm going to do. But what is this phase? What is this phase that so many people are missing out on? This is the phase we're planting seeds, y'all. Everybody wants instant action, instant results, and they just want it now, 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 now. But imagine how many seeds you can plant right now. Write down everybody you've talked to, whether they were responsive towards impact or not. Write down the results. Oh, they have a pre-existing condition. Oh, they already have insurance they like. Oh, their employer pays for it. I don't care, whatever it is, but write down every single seed that you're planting. Because when the time comes closer and people start freaking out, then you reach back out to them. Then we say, hey, how's everything going? Hey, I know your employer pays for everything 100%. That is fantastic. I want to make sure that they are able to continue to do that. In the state of Texas, rates are raising 31%. And I don't want them to drop your health care. I'd love a conversation with your employer and see how I can help. You see how that can transition to more business? I'm not trying to sell them. I'm not trying to get them to leave their employer insurance, because why? If they get it paid for, y'all don't sign someone up for impact if they're fine. But that can lead to more business. So as we're in this seed planting phase, make sure you write down every single person you talk to. I'm collecting all these business cards. Hey, it was so great speaking with you today. I'd love to chat in the future about collaboration. I always talk about collaboration because almost every single industry we can collaborate with, whether it's life insurance, whether it's home insurance, any insurance, whether it's real estate, whether it's anybody in the health and wellness realm. I talked to a food prep person this last weekend. He does meal preps. And so I got his information, and we want to collaborate there. I'm actually going to reach out to Impact and say, hey, if they are eating well, if it's food prepped, would this go towards the health and wellness credit? Does anybody know? I need to ask that. I don't know if anybody knows. I think Kush is nodding his head. Is it yes? Oh, there we go. So you guys, I'm reaching back out to him today. I'm not waiting any longer. And then Queen Bee Juicery. I go to these places and I get these healthy juices, which if it's food prep, I would assume that would be the same thing, other people to talk to. And I just mentioned to them, hey, I would love to help your customers offset some of this cost. How can we collaborate? But as I bring that up to them and I say, hey, as we're putting in flyers, as we're putting up stuff, as we're educating your customers about how we can get some of these health and wellness credits with your product, gym memberships, whatever it is, everybody that comes to me, you know that we have an affiliate program where you can generate some income too just by referrals. Are you interested in learning more? That's it. I don't say you need to get on this presentation. It would be good for you. Do you want to make some extra income? I don't say any of that. They already have in mind that they want to refer business to me. Why? Because it's going to help their business. If they can get some of their customers to be able to get some of this covered and put towards their health and wellness credits, they're going to send me business. I'm saying, hey, out of all the business you're going to send me, let's collaborate. A reason for collaboration. Now, in that process, sometimes you have those red apples like myself. I was an absolutely red apple from the get. You have some of those people that beat you to the chase saying, hey, I'm going to refer you a whole bunch of business. How can I offer this? How can I sell this? Without you even bringing it up. Now, those are the people you want to lock arms with and run with, and do not blink because they will run. So these are ways we are thinking outside the box, but when I say outside the box, we're thinking more towards servitude and not selling. We're thinking more how we can help other people, how these masses are, it's going to be a crisis. It really is. And there's so many people. I'm talking to other network marketers in every single network marketing company. Why? Because as health insurance is rising, they're going to stop buying product. As they start spending money into what they think are necessities, of course, they're going to stop buying their Amway stuff, their LifeWave stuff. I don't even know what else is out there anymore, but coffee or whatever people buy from network marketing companies. Now their income is going to go down because they're losing a whole bunch of their customers, because now their customers have to pay for their health insurance. And it's like, hey, if you're an Herbalife, why not help your customers out and get some of these health and wellness credits for your product to your customers so that they can stay your customers longer? Are we having these conversations with people? LifeWave. I brought up LifeWave. So I had met someone in LifeWave, and I'm kind of helping him a little bit in building his business. Roxann, why are you doing that? He's not an ACN. Why are you coaching him? Because that's what I do. He's brand spanking new to network marketing. Why not help someone? And as I'm helping him, was a wellness exchange on Friday. I partnered up with my IB therapist. She did this wellness exchange, brought a whole bunch of people in. That's where I met the food prep guy. That's where I met a recovery. Well, I already had met them, but a recovery day spa that helps like everybody that does all these health and wellness things. And I invited them. And some people might say, like, I would never. They're trying to recruit. They're going to recruit my people. Then you're coming from the wrong heart. You are absolutely coming from the wrong heart. If we think about collaboration, that is not going to happen. And if they prefer LifeWave over ACN, then they weren't going to do anything in ACN anyway. And you were going to waste your time. But so I brought him, he brought his uplines, his leaders, because again, he's brand spanking new. They had a table, they do all these things. And then his like top upline sends me a text message the next day, say, hey, I have a customer for you. Come on now, y'all. We're so scared to collaborate with other network marketers that we're losing on so much business because we're not collaborating. Now, I was told, they're like, oh, we want Roxann on the team. Of course they do. Maybe that's why they're trying to send me business and saying, hey, but it's not going to happen, but we can still collaborate. And we're so scared to reach out to these other people. Doctors and chiropractors. I had a chiropractor say that they'll bill the insurance, but they won't accept the payment. Like it just, and I would try to get them as a preferred provider. They already said no. They said no to all these steps, but guess what? I'm talking to every single person in that office still. I'm talking to every single person until they say yes. And no doesn't mean no forever. They just don't know impact. They say, oh, well, what did they say? He said something like, we don't like to be a preferred provider because then they think they won't pay us because they think it has to come out of the insurance. And I said, that actually doesn't work with us because we work a little bit differently, but that's okay. No big deal. I'm going to move on to the next person, until I get someone to actually listen to me, and they're going to be seeing me consistently. Because I'm thinking outside the box. They don't know impact. I'm not going to sell them. I'm not going to push them. Oh, it's different. You got to listen. No. Just go with them because they've been working in business for however long doing the same thing over and over and over and over. And as we all know, change is hard. But eventually, I'll get them. But doctors, reach out to your doctors. I had someone say, hey, Roxann, I really want to talk to my doctor. I said, do you have his phone number? She goes, no. And I was like, his email? She said, yeah. And I'm like, okay, let's draft an email and send it to him. Because guess what? What could hurt? Nothing. The worst case is he doesn't respond. Like, really, that's the worst case. There's nothing that could be worse than that. And if he doesn't respond, so what? Call another doctor. Go see another doctor. And then lastly, I want to close with just sharing the information because, like I said, I don't go out there and I don't sell. I'm not out there giving everybody quotes and all this stuff, but I let them come to me. So I had someone I've known for, I don't know, about 3 weeks now. He was at the Wellness Exchange and been talking to him. He's heard me have conversations with other people. I've never approached him. This is just what happens when you're around me. You'll always hear about business. And then he asked me actually this morning before this call, I wanted to open up this message. And he said, he asked me, where is it? I'm going to have to look at quotes for insurance if you don't mind. Like now, instead of people being harassed by me, he's asking, like, at some point, anytime that's most convenient for you, can I get a quote? And I said, absolutely. Did it right then and there. But before I sent him the quote, he said, I prefer a PPO. Otherwise, I won't consider switching. So some people are already going to be like, whoa, well, it's not a PPO. I might lose him, whatever. And so I just sent him the price rate and left it at that. And how many of us would get into the weeds about, well, it's not a PPO, it's health sharing, and here's the difference. You can see anybody you want and just babble and babble and babble and babble. Push, I'm looking at you. You told me you like to get in the weeds. And I know because I'm that same way too, because we have all the information. Why not educate them? But I didn't respond to the PPO question whatsoever. I sent him the rates. And I just said 130 to 268. I did a little bit of explaining. I said, depending on deductible amount. I just said, I did say it's no network. You can see anybody you want. And as long as it fits our guidelines, there's no denial of service. And he said, oh, wow, way better than I'm paying now. I need some details. So he was already, if it's not a PPO, I'm not interested. I'm not even considering it to, oh my gosh, I need details now. He doesn't even know what it is. I didn't get into any weeds. I did type a message wanting to go, oh, and by the way, health and wellness credits. I totally wanted to, but I didn't. I deleted that. Like, you know how you type when you're angry and type when you're angry? I do it. I'm excited too. And I'm like, no, delete. And he says, oh my gosh, I'm paying $460 now with a higher deductible. Woo! So more than double with the higher deductible. And then he goes into other things about what he has that I could have addressed, but I didn't. So what am I going to do? What's my next step? Because he wants more information. I'm going to get him on an impact customer information call. That is it. I am not the person. You are not the person. We are not the people to deliver that information, even though we think we are, even though we have the information. I could have said anything and everything because I am passionate about impact. If y'all can't tell, everyone can tell how passionate I am about impact. But when I talk about it and they see my passion, it's stories. I do not get into all the ins and outs and benefits of impact. And when they see, they're like, wow, this is something you're passionate about. I had one lady I just met yesterday at a brunch. Within like 5 minutes of a conversation, she goes, wow, I'm really glad you're doing this. She doesn't know me. And she's like, I'm really glad you found your calling. Because of my passion, because of my stories. And I tell my stories not only about customers and yeah, saving money is great, but my story. And I would, if you guys find your story, my story that I tell people that really pulls at their heartstrings and makes sure and lets them know that how passionate I am is that when I was 17 years old, I got sick. I got sick as a 17-year-old does. And my mom took me to the doctors and they said, oh, take her home. She's got the flu. Just get some rest. My mom said, no, something else is wrong. So I went to the hospital the next day and they said, oh my gosh, she just got the flu. Take her home and get some rest. This happened for 7 days. We went to a different clinic, a different hospital, a different doctor every day until we went to a county over. We ran out of places to take me and went to a whole new county to the hospital. My blood pressure was so low, so they had to admit me. I finally got admitted. My entire body shut down. Most of y'all don't know, I have a scar that spans my whole left side. My whole left side, I went to emergency surgery. I went into renal failure, 17 years old, healthy, sports, all the things. What happened was pneumonia. One chest x-ray. One urine test would have said that my kidneys were failing, something was wrong, my body was dehydrated. Anything. But insurance said I didn't meet the qualifications to do any of this stuff. And I kept getting sent home, kept getting sent home. And if I did not go into the hospital that day, I would have died in my sleep. Perfectly healthy 17-year-old high school student. Because the insurance, I wasn't meeting the qualifications for these very simple tests. And I have so many stories like that. And if you guys want to use my story, because then I wouldn't be here with you guys today if my mom was not the amazing woman she is and took me every single day. And I don't want to see that happen to anybody. Oh, and then post-surgery insurance says they're not covering it because you were looking for something. You were looking for something, so you found something. They said to take her home, let her rest. You should have done that. Now we fought it and it was all covered, but even after the fact, they wouldn't have covered pneumonia? Get out of here. Come on. So something's got to change. That's what I share. When I talk about impact, I share that. I share the stories about my friend whose daughter has a whole bunch of seizures and is life-saving medication. That's $3,000 a month for the massive seizures that she has consistently, and it's the only thing keeping them at bay. One day, all of a sudden, went for her refill, and the insurance said, we're not covering it anymore. This is the world we live in, and most people that don't see these health issues, which unfortunately I've had to see so many times over and over and over and over again throughout my family, people don't see that until they're living it. And then by that point, it's too late. So when you're sharing about impact, share. Don't share the information, share the stories. Share how we're saving people $8,000 a year and how they were able to take their family on a vacation that they never thought that they could, because that's where that money was repurposed. Or how an employer was able to afford to hire a new employee so their current employees were no longer overworked because they were able to save on their health insurance. This is how we need to be talking to people. Y'all, it is the last time you get to hear me for another month, but I really wanted to share with you how I'm going about this. This is how I'm doing it. It's a slow process. It really is. And if you want those instant results, don't listen to a word I say. I'm telling you, you won't get them. I've done this where it takes months to build up, but I promise you the reward 2, 3, 4 months from now is just going to be mind-blowing. How do I know? Because I've done it before. Put in the work. And it's going to be fantastic, not just for yourself, but for what you can provide for everybody else. I love y'all. It is so exciting. This last quarter is going to be amazing. And I cannot wait to see y'all the next time I see y'all. Thank you so much, Mr. Thomas.